Hey guys, welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Leading off the show today is Mark Ellis.
Come on in, you charlatans. Welcome one and all to Collider Movie Talk. My name is Mark, and it is a veritable trailer park here today. We got not one, not two, but three trailers to talk about, all which I think involve very scary snakes. We're also talking about James Cameron and Linda Hamilton possibly reuniting for more Terminator movies. Ashley, who's joining me today?
Also, here's Jon Schnepp.
That's right. I was at that Terminator 2 in 3D screening yesterday. It was badass, man. I forgot, I saw it when it came out opening night, and I felt like I was seeing it again for the first time. It's such an amazing film.
Also, here's Kristian Harloff.
Yeah, I got nothing. I'm trying, but coffee.
You got the impression you could do.
Well, what?
Arnold! It's your favorite thing!
Oh, boo.
Oh my gosh. Clarke Wolfe, what do you have to say to that?
Nobody likes a crabby Christian.
Yeah.
I'm even talking to my wife.
Now Clarke Wolfe has to do an Arnold impression to kick the show off. Pretty damn good.
That's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty
We
perfect.
have a whole lot of stuff to get to today. You look at that rundown. You see, first of all, the rundown didn't have Clarke Wolfe's Arnold impression. It didn't have the Terminator news. It didn't have one of the trailers we're going to be talking about. So a whole lot of surprises all bundled into a tidy show, courtesy of this guy and my trusty sidekick, Ashley Mova. What's going on first?
Sir. Yesterday, a special screening event for T2 Judgment Day. James Cameron and his newly appointed director, Tim Miller, announced plans for a new Terminator trilogy, with Linda Hamilton officially returning to the franchise. Speaking about the new movies and about Hamilton's character return, Cameron said, "As meaningful as she was to gender and action stars everywhere back then, it's going to make a huge statement to have that seasoned warrior that she's become return. There are 50-year-old, 60-year-old guys out there killing bad guys, but there isn't an example of that for women." Mark, what do you think about a new Terminator trilogy directed by Tim Miller with Linda Hamilton returning?
You know, Ashley, I really want to get excited about this, and maybe I will at one point, but it's just, it seems still a little desperate to me anyway for the Terminator franchise to be like, all right, what can we do? Can we bring Arnold back? Can we try to get a new, younger Sarah Connor? Can we try to do this? Can we try to alternate the timeline? What can we possibly do to keep James Cameron's baby relevant in movie theaters and with audience members? And I hope that this is the conduit, because I think Linda Hamilton was so magnificent as Sarah Connor, and I agree with what James Cameron said. Now, you can read those James Cameron quotes and be like me and you know, that's a nice little mea culpa for your Wonder Woman gaffe a couple weeks ago, but I want to get excited about this, Kristian. I'm just not there yet, given all of the Terminator, Jenny Smith, Salvation, Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines nonsense that we've been through. Does this feel desperate to you, or does this feel like finally we're moving in the right direction?
Well, here's the negative. The negative is, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. And they've done that more than twice. It's happened many, many times here to where the movies have just been subpar. And the other thing that we've had is that James Cameron has endorsed these piss piles. He said, "Oh, the last one, it's a good Terminator movie, and it's been terrible." And he's like, "I'm just kidding." And now, and he's producing another one here, but you have Linda Hamilton back. Everyone's going to hear about it and go. And I saw when the post came out, it's just like beat a dead horse, and everyone has the right to feel that way, because you just haven't had a quality film since the one that you saw last night in 3D. There has not been a really good one. Now, the positive side is, if you're going to do it and it's going to work, you're going up a hill of skepticism. There's no going around that. But in order to try to beat that, you get Tim Miller, who you spoke with Tim Miller at Comic Book Shop, and the guy's a passionate filmmaker, cares, doesn't just make movies to make movies. He wants to do stuff that he loves. The other positive is that they're going to continue it right after T2. I like this trend of people, what they've been doing, hearing this lately, of they're kind of retconning some of the old stinky movies. And if they can do that and it works, and you're playing with time here, so you can find a way to do that. Linda Hamilton coming back. What I want it to look like, though, I want it to look like 1 and 2 in that area, and not do, honestly, what Kingsman 2 did. You get all this money and you start throwing all this money at it, and it just goes over CGI and what the other movies did also. Go back to basics. Go back to, if you can go back to what the first one looked like, a straight up horror film, that would be amazing. They're not going to do that. But there's possibilities that could. I'm positive on this. I understand where people could be, not excited, but I'm positive on it.
Clarke, Kristian is showing a silver lining to my touch of gray with this story. How do you feel?
You know, if Linda Hamilton's back, I'm willing to give it another chance. I have said anytime we talk about Terminator, I'm of the mindset that this belongs in a 10-part television series, high budget, whether it's on HBO or something, or Netflix or something like that, because I think the story needs more time. And I think trying to cram all this mythology, even if it is into a trilogy, isn't smart because you can't bank on the trilogy. I think I was reading online, like, you know, somebody tweeted, how many Terminator trilogies have we been promised over the with these last two movies? So, and I think that there's some truth to that. So I think kind of thinking about it like it has to be feature film isn't necessarily the way to do it. But I also understand that if you want a Tim Miller or someone like that to come on board, perhaps they can only commit to a feature film. But that being said, you know, I'm definitely excited that Linda Hamilton's back.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Miller's proven that he can work within a budget and make something that's really kick-ass and fun. I mean, he also had some pretty good producing partners with Deadpool that were intrinsically involved in making that movie. Will James Cameron be that, or will he just be, as Kristian alluded to, just the guy that's kind of signing some checks and being like, yeah, that looks good, Linda's back, okay, cool. Jon Schnepp, you were blown away once again in theaters by Terminator 2 last night. Is Linda Hamilton joining Arnold and both of them coming back enough to get you excited about more Terminator movies, or do we need Edward Furlong?
We don't need Edward Furlong. And you know what was the most exciting thing is seeing Tim Miller and James Cameron talk for an hour. There was a Q&A. There was a Hollywood Reporter guy there. He just threw some softball things. But really, it was the conversation back and forth between
They just
Tim
totally
Miller.
ignored the moderator.
Well, he just had a couple of like
Who was
very-
Edward Furlong?
Yeah,
He had some,
there you
he
go.
had some fun questions, but I mean, just stuff to kind of start the conversation. But it was great. Those guys are hyper intelligent. Tim Miller's a big nerd. He's a giant science fiction nerd. Not only is he going to be directing Neuromancer, that's in the future, but he's read tons of books. He's a book nerd. You can't trust something like that more so than with Tim Miller. He loves James Cameron's Terminator. James Cameron is at the writer's room once a week. They've got all these top writers. The guy who did the Sarah Connor Chronicles. So if a lot of people love that series. Mm-hmm. There's all the earmarks is that James Cameron is actually giving a shit in this new trilogy, and he's invested in it. Like all the other ones, he was like, yeah, he did. He's like, that's good, it's good, check. Because he didn't even own it. Now he's got a little bit of stake in it. David Ellison is a big fan of the Terminator. So you have all these different people who are all doing it because not just to make money, because the other two didn't make money. They didn't launch a trilogy. They're just trying to make a good Terminator movie, and they're like, look, we have a plan for a trilogy, just like Force Awakens. Introduce a lot of the older cast. Like Arnold is going to play his age for the first time. That's another thing a lot of people aren't talking about. They're like, the Terminator, the CPU is like a learning machine. So the outer skin ages, so he's going to look like he's like 68 or 9.
They touched on that in Genesis a little bit, which I one of the few cool things.
He's going to be 71 in Terminator.
It's just like that beat up Univac your dad has in the garage, you know, like one of the first computers that ever come out.
Yeah, but you know, obviously in Terminator 2, he goes into the volcano, melts down and stuff. But so we don't know how he's going to be reintroduced, but he's going to be the Terminator's real age, Arnold's real age, aging in real time. I don't know how they're going to introduce any of the characters. But it sounds like what they're doing is they're going back to the basics. Exactly, Tim Miller said that. He's like, it's not going to be all spectacle and explosions. It's going to be a great science fiction story. It's going to be questioning what is AI in the year 2017. It's like all these things have jumped leaps and bounds since that movie, like 27 years ago, 28 years ago, was made. The first one, the Terminator, 1984, even longer ago. So, I mean, now we actually have AI. We actually have smartphones. We have all this crazy stuff where it's actually, you'll see Linda Hamilton yelling, it's already happening, look at it. Like everyone's on their phone. We've been absorbed. You know, you're going to see this. I can't wait to see this movie. I never was more excited to see a new Terminator than just hearing them talk about it. So I know that they're in it right now. I mean, Tim Miller's doing animatics. He owns an animation studio. So they're actually doing all this amazing pre-pro work, which a lot of other studios and producers and directors don't do. This guy is in it to win it. So I'm all in on this film.
And one last thing, throwing something at you too. Tim Miller has a chance to be Theo Epstein here. Meaning, you know, like this, and for you, that's the fact that Theo Epstein was a guy who basically brought a championship to the Chicago Cubs, who didn't have it.
First did it with the Red Sox.
He did it with the Red Sox,
and then so basically he took franchises that had really not a lot of championship life in them and reinvigorated them, a lot like what The Rock has done in front of the camera, what J.J. Abrams has done behind the camera already. So Tim Miller could be the next guy to be on that train,
and
right?
they need that right now. Terminator needs a big win, and if they can, and going off Clarke's point, if this movie isn't good, stop another trilogy, either do TV or just let it die altogether. But if it's good, he's the guy that helped bring it back. But lock him up to the trilogy, and let's not have what happened at Deadpool.
He's locked in. They already said he's doing all three, but he's doing one first. And they all said, we're just going to do one good movie, and it's going to end. It's not going to be like, oh, come back next week, but they're going to keep it open-ended. But it's, they want to do a trilogy, but they're like, if they just make one, they'll be happy with doing one. And his entire crew from the original Deadpool is all coming with him. They were all waiting for him. We don't, because they've been working on this for a year. They've been working on this Terminator movie. Like, we just find out about it like, oh, it's brand new. No, they're already like deep in animatics and storyboards and like, so very exciting.
Look, it's all great news, but it does feel like James Cameron is at a Morton Steakhouse and he ordered 4 huge plates for himself, which are Avatar movies, and then he just ordered 3 more plates. Like, I'm just going to be picking at these side dishes that are the Terminator movies. So I'm going to contradict myself here, though, because I actually do get excited that they announced it as a trilogy, as opposed to just one standalone movie. Usually I don't like that when they're like, oh no, we have 6 movies planned. I think with Terminator, Clarke, to your point that you want to see it more as an episodic TV series thing, at least it means that they have a vision of where this thing can go and that it might take some time to develop.
Yeah, no, I think in my bigger point is like, if you have 10 hours of something, that's roughly 3 movies, right? So if you, but having the continuity in that, in laying out and unfolding the story in that way for something like Terminator, because it is so mythology heavy, that's the thing that I think might translate better to a long form storytelling. But again, if anybody is gonna make this 3-part franchise work, it's James Cameron.
And to your point, they did allude to like, hey, because that was one of the questions from the Hollywood Reporter, any spin-offs or TV shows while you're making this? And they were like, we're gonna do one movie. If that goes well, we're gonna shoot the other 2 back to back.
Good.
And then we'll see where it goes from there. We're not opposed to doing a TV series, but we're gonna do the 3 movies first. And also, I mean, James Cameron said, look, I'm doing Avatar during the day, I'm doing Battle Angel during the night, and I'm doing Terminator on the weekends. So I mean, he's committed, but he's at the writer's room once a week. He shows up in person every day in the at night or the afternoon. They Skype in and talk to him. So he's involved.
I do this show for 45 minutes and need a nap immediately afterwards. All right, let's move on to our official first topic on the rundown, and it's one of my favorite names of all time. Have at it, Ashley.
Deadline is reporting that Thor Ragnarok director Taika Waititi is in negotiations with Warner Brothers to helm the live-action adaptation of Akira. The story takes place in the rebuilt New Manhattan, where a leader of a biker gang saves his friend from a medical experiment. The movie has been a big priority at Warner Brothers and Legendary Pictures after they acquired the manga and a 7-figure deal, with Deadline saying the intention for the series will be to make 2 films, each covering 3 books in the series. No release date or cast has been announced at this time. Mark, thoughts on Taika Waititi directing a live-action Akira?
My thoughts are going to be a lot clearer after I see Thor Ragnarok and hopefully feel the way that I think I'm going to about that movie. Everything I've seen from the promotional material looks like Taika Waititi was not only the right guy to take this on, but he's somebody that is clearly passionate about the source material of a project that he does helm. So I know that Akira is something that they've wanted to get off the ground forever, Clarke, and it's got a huge fan base that really, really cares about that source material. So Taika Waititi doing it, I think it sounds like a good choice for me. How do you see it? I
agree. I mean, everything that I've seen from Thor Ragnarok, I'm just so excited for this movie. It can't get here fast enough. But the thing that's interesting to me is, Marvel usually likes to keep their directors in their house, in their family, and Warner Brothers also likes to keep their directors in their house and in their family. So it will be interesting to see in which direction Taika goes. But yeah, I mean, sign me up for anything he wants to do. I'm really impressed by him.
Jon Schnepp, this news get you sweaty?
A little bit. Getting sweating right now thinking about a new Akira movie directed by, I just watched What We Do in the Shadows a couple nights ago, and it's so much fun to see, it's the creativity and crazy fun. Then you're like, that's not what Thor Ragnarok's going to be like, but it translates as far as like the way he directs things. I'm excited to see what he's going to do. He's also a nerd, obviously, so that he's embraced Kirby so much for Thor Ragnarok. I'm sure he's going to embrace all of the awesomeness of Akira.
It's just nice to know that you can call somebody a nerd in 2017, and it's like it's something you put at the top of your resume for why they should be doing something. Kristian, you are a nerd as well. Do you like this idea?
I do, but I'm curious and concerned. I'm concerned not because of directing. I'm concerned because I don't want Akira to start turning into The Crow, because they kept developing and developing. Leonardo DiCaprio's company was attached at one point. Someone else was attached, and they just can't get it to stick. So if they sign him to a deal, I want it to stick. I don't want it to fall apart because it's such a great story. And the fact that if it starts falling apart and gets that cursed moniker on it, I don't want that to happen. As far as, well, I'm curious because everything he's done so far has been really good, but everything, even what we're seeing so far in Thor, has been humor-based. That means nothing as far as if he can't do it or not. I'm just curious to see what he's going to do because this doesn't have, Akira not traditionally has a lot of humor in it.
It could use a little bit of humor.
It could, but it doesn't have. But
right.
the stuff that he's
totally
had has been good storytelling with a lot of humor in it.
Right.
And again, it doesn't mean that he is not capable. There are certainly people who've come from humor-based films and transferred over brilliantly. But it's just like I said, I'm curious. But I think he's a great director. We had a chance to talk to him at one point when they showed us around the Thor stuff, and you hear how passionate he is about his films in general. And like you said, if he gets himself locked into this thing, he's going to put 110% in. But like I said, I'm just curious and concerned.
Yeah, of note, there's been a lot of different hands that have changed over this project. There's been a lot of baton passing, but DiCaprio's production company, Appian Way, is still involved with making this movie. So I think that's a nice feather in its cap as well. Shout out to one of our fans, Laura Horsfall, who said that picture looks like he just got his driver's license photo taken. That is indeed the case. Well done, Ms. Horsfall. All right, let's move on to the trailer. Everybody couldn't wait to drop yesterday. We finally got it last night.
The first official trailer has been released for the upcoming reboot of Tomb Raider. Directed by The Wave's Roar Uthog, the movie is about the origin story of Lara Croft with Academy Award winner Alicia Vikander in the title role. The film will see Croft as a 21-year-old bike courier in East London, refusing to follow in her father's footsteps. But when he disappears, Croft leaves behind her old life and goes in search of his last known whereabouts, a fabled tomb in a mythical island off the coast of Japan. The film also stars Dominic West, Walton Goggins, and Daniel Wu and opens in theaters on March 16, 2018. Clarke, thoughts on the first trailer for Tomb Raider?
That was literally the first thing out of her mouth. I hadn't seen it yet, and we're at a pre-production meeting. Thank you, boys, for attending. And I asked Clarke, I was like, hey, how's the Tomb Raider trailer? And Clarke is like, she hadn't had her coffee yet.
Yeah, I've had my coffee. Okay, I don't love this. I don't love it. I think maybe it could be cool. Things I liked was that there were certain scenes, maybe just because I've been rewatching the Indiana Jones movies, that reminded me of Indiana Jones. And then, which I was like, okay, that's cool. But then when I started thinking about Indiana Jones, I was like, oh, but this isn't fun. So that's not good. So I just like, this was such a meh trailer for me. I wanted to be really excited about it. And even though I didn't love the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raiders, at least she kind of did those movies with a wink and you know, had a little bit of a sense of humor about it. So I don't know. This was just a meh for me.
Okay, Jon Schnepp, you're up next.
All right, I want to see a movie called Roar Uthog. That's just, I'm just putting that on the plate. Someone start writing it. I will go attend it. The only person.
Here's why I feel bad for Matthew Vaughn. He's the next director we're going to be talking about, so his name has to follow Roar Uthog and Taika Waititi.
Right.
There's no chance, man.
Nope.
You're good. You're done.
Yep, capped out, son. 3 strikes, you're out. Anyway, this thing, Tomb Raider, I actually liked it. It was entertaining. It kind of did what the little mini teaser, 20-second thing that we watched yesterday, her jumping around, showing her shooting some arrows and stuff. Kind of exactly what I expected this to be. It's straight up action, female Indiana Jones, a lot of cool action set pieces. So, I mean, for myself, I mean, I'm not a giant Tomb Raider fan either, so I was just like, oh, cool, like a fun action adventure film. Goggins is great. He's, so they got a lot of really good character actors to be in the film. I love Alicia Vikander, so, I'm in.
All right, Clarke, not so much. Jon Schnepp, yes. Kristian, you live for pressure-packed moments like this.
I loved it. I really did. I loved it. I thought that it was, I mean, I got to just go the other side, Clarke, with as far as the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider. I thought they were too goofy. I thought they were really goofy movies. Like the Tomb Raider games were serious, and they were, they were fun, but they were serious when they were that Indiana Jones kind of female adventurer. And when I saw the teaser, I said, that teaser was more of Lara Croft than both Angelina Jolie movies put together. I think the two Angelina Jolie movies focus more on Angelina Jolie, the movie star, and what the movie she wanted to make. And this, to me, felt like, so far, the trailer looks like a Lara Croft movie. It doesn't look like a Alicia Vikander movie. And that, to me, is intriguing. And I want to see how they execute this movie and how they make it. Doesn't look too over-the-top CGI. There's certainly going to be CGI in a movie like this, but it looks like it's just it's a little raw. It looks like it's going to be fun, but but still taking itself seriously, and I like that. I think that it is fun sometimes to watch a movie to where it can do the wink and just say, oh, we're just kind of goofing around. But I like it also when they can take themselves seriously and make a movie going, yeah, it was based on a video game, but we're taking this material serious, and that's what this is. And the video game genre needs a movie like this. They need a movie to deliver this way. So I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. So thumbs up.
Yeah, I mean, even the Indiana Jones movies had wink and nods in there, but they took themselves seriously enough when they had to. So the vibe I get from this trailer, though, I'm surprised nobody brought up the name, the great Oscar-winning flicks, National Treasure movies, man. This is exactly a national. This is a national treasure. My dad was into this thing, and I didn't really want to go down to it. Now it's the family thing, so now I got to go look for this stuff. And there's a lot of action, like Kristian said. Roar Uthog really made an effort to anti-CGI as much of this movie as he possibly could, so it looks a lot more practical. We all love that in the modern day. So I'm in on this trailer. I can understand the apprehension of people who may be huge Tomb Raider fans who are worried that it's either going to follow too closely to the video game, which is the error that a lot of video game movies had made in the past, where they tried to do what Clarke was saying. You try to be too much into the video game, and you forget that you're making a movie at the same time. This looks like it's walking the line, okay, of taking a really cool premise from a video game and then making an adventure movie out of it. Hopefully, we get that when the actual flick comes out. So Alicia Vikander, I'm excited to see her. I like the cast involved, so I think I'm going to go ahead and be happy about this trailer for now. All right. Do we go to buy or sell now, Ashley?
Yeah, we do.
What happens in buy or sell? Tell us about it.
Before we get into what's going on in the rundown, there is a new trailer for Jumanji. Welcome to the jungle. Did you guys get a chance to check it out?
Your Axl Rose just defeated Clarke Wolfe's Arnold Schwarzenegger in the battle of half-efforted impressions. I really like the Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle trailer, not just because it's got one of the best kick-ass rock anthems of all time in the middle of it. It's because what this did is it took the Jumanji teaser that we saw, that I liked, and then it gave us another minute of fun stuff. It didn't just rely on the same jokes that the teaser gave us, because the body switch thing I think is funny. I think it's a nice little vehicle to get us into this new jungle world that we're in. But if this trailer just kept hitting you over the head with, hey, how funny is this? I would have kind of started to back away. That didn't happen in this trailer. Sure, we got those jokes, but there's a lot of fun to be had here. I love the Kevin Hart and The Rock interplay. I think Jack Black looks hilarious. So I'm in on this movie. How do you feel, Schnepp?
I loved everything about this except for one thing that really bothers me, and it's like a writer's, it's like an older writer who never plays video games. Like, hey, you only have 3 lives, like in the old coin-op thing. It's a video game, son. Xbox doesn't have 3 lives. You just keep respawning.
But this was an old video. This was dusty.
No, it was a board game.
No, it was a dusty old video game.
It was a dusty video game. It's like a Sega Genesis, Altered Beast, Golden Axe. You had 3 lives.
All right, I take it back, then I loved all of it.
Kristian, you on the same page?
Yeah, I am. I had a lot of fun with this trailer. I think that going back to what Clarke was just talking about, this was the wink and the nod, and let's just have some fun. And I love the idea that they said we're not going to remake it. We're just 20 years. No one's really played it since, and it always finds a way. Okay, I'll suspend disbelief there, and we get into it, and then the avatars are kind of figuring their way out, but they're also going on an adventure. I thought the jokes actually worked. It wasn't one of those jokes sometimes like you said, oh no, they're going for the easy joke. There was some fun jokes, and I think that Jack Black as that girl, the subtle thing, I don't know how I'm gonna deal without my phone, and it wasn't so over. Look, I'm a girl. It wasn't that. It was more the character of who she is so far. So I thought it could be cool. It could be a fun holiday movie. So I'm into it.
Clarke Wolfe, how you feeling about the Jumanji trailer?
Yeah, I mean, I loved the first one, and I really love this one too, and I'm very excited for it. The only nitpicky thing that I have is I really still don't understand why this had to be called Jumanji. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Why? This movie really seems like it is standing on its own. And the whole point of the book Jumanji was that wild animals come out of a book into your house and destroy your suburbs. That's what Jumanji is. This is just going to the jungle. So if you're going on a safari, go on a safari. But I don't get it.
Well, maybe they go to the jungle and then they get back and then the jungle comes with them.
Ooh. Maybe
Okay,
that happens. Welcome to the jungle.
Welcome to the jungle in your suburban neighborhood.
Whoa.
Welcome the Hendersons, our next door neighbors, to this rhinoceros. Do you guys think, and I'd be up for it if they did, because Schnepp mentioned like what video game system were they playing, how many lives. Do you think that there's going to be a subtle nod to the Konami Contra code where you get 30 lives? Anybody?
Wow.
Anybody remember what it was?
No,
Christian?
Deep cut.
up, down, down,
You're
left, right, BA select start.
30 lives for Kristian Harloff. I'm
Man.
80% sure of that. 75%, 80% sure of that. All right, let's move on to another buy or sell. Maybe it's one of these on the rundown.
In a new interview with Collider's own Steve Weintraub, director Matthew Vaughn revealed that after he completed his first cut of Kingsman The Golden Circle, Fox brought up the idea of releasing the movie in 2 parts, a prospect Vaughn shut down pretty quickly, he said. I thought it was highly watchable. That was the part about being a sequel as well. I lost my discipline, where you're with a bunch of friends and you go, oh, that's a good idea. And it was a good idea. But everything just got longer and longer and longer. There was a moment where the studio said, hey, should we do The Golden Circle Part 1 and Part 2? And I went, absolutely no way we're doing that. This is The Golden Circle. Kristian, hearing about his longer cut of the film, would you buy or sell a 2-part Kingsman The Golden Circle?
Oh, I'd sell it, and I'd buy Matthew Vaughn, realizing that this isn't a 2-part movie at all. It's I've seen the movie, and you guys know how much I loved the first movie. I was really disappointed with the second one. There were some fun moments, and I still gave it a positive review overall, but it just didn't have the same magic the first one had at all. But good on him to realize, no. This is one story here. I'm not going to capitalize on the audience kind of coming back and then start having them pay more money for a 2-part series here because I made the movie too long. He did what a director has to do. He cut it down and said, okay, I was shot a lot of this. And again, good on him in the fact that he wanted to shoot all this cool, fun stuff because he loves it. And I didn't feel for a second that he lost his passion for it. I just didn't happen to like the movie as much as I liked the first one.
Yeah, but in watching our review, your review on Schmoes that I didn't participate in because, I had stuff to do that day.
Or missed the screening.
I had stuff to do that day.
Right.
You seemed like a guy who was excited to see it, and then you got let down by the overall tone. So this is not necessarily a matter of, oh, I wanted to see more in this world. It was just tonally, you felt the shift was too much, and so more footage isn't going to help that.
No, it wouldn't, because I think the story itself that he wanted to tell is in there. Like for example, The Dark Tower. When you watch The Dark Tower, there are many things missing from that movie. And granted, it's only an hour and a half, but still, you feel things are missing. I didn't feel anything was missing as far as the story went in this at all. I felt like it would have been bloated if they put more stuff in there.
Because I know you guys wanted more Jeff Bridges and Halle Berry and Channing Tatum,
yeah.
like more the American side of the team. So maybe that was.
I don't think that would have. Without spoiling stuff, I don't think that would have done anything.
Julianne Moore, more of her.
No, I love Julianne Moore. She's one of my favorite actresses. I thought she was in a completely different movie. I felt like she was in an Austin Powers movie and not in a Kingsman movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jon Schnepp, you are a filmmaker. What happens when the studio comes to you and they're like, hey, you want to make this 2 movies? And you say no.
Well, that really depends on a lot of things. Like, we saw that happen to Batman v Superman where they cut it down and it's disappointing. A theatrical cut didn't really make sense. It didn't work. It was like, at least to me, it was very jagged and jarring, and it seemed like when I was watching it, I didn't know there was a lot missing, but then seeing the ultimate cut was like seeing a different movie. So I think, it depends. Like, they released that, and that was their plan. Well, we'll release this ultimate cut later, and you'll get your version out there. I think Vaughn was like, look, I have a 3.5-hour movie. This is crazy. I don't know what I'm doing. Let me lose an hour and a half, and it'll still be a great movie. Maybe we'll see all that on the Blu-ray, or maybe they'll release like the Super Extendo Kingsman, so we get to see that version of it. I'm looking forward to seeing the Kingsman Golden Circle. Hopefully I'm not disappointed like some other people are. I love the first one just like you, so I'm a little bummed hearing that news, but I think everyone has to make up their own mind for themselves. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. Do I want to see a 3.5-hour Kingsman at home?
One last thing is that I think a version of this that worked was Kill Bill Volume 1 and Kill Bill Volume 2, because those movies, even though you could watch it as one long film, separated, they feel like 2 different movies in tone completely. And when Tarantino wanted to do it, it made sense. And the fact that Vaughn did not want to do it it makes sense.
Clarke, as somebody who I imagine has some level of anticipation for this movie, I hope you get to check it out during your travels this weekend. Do you think that, what does this do to you as an audience member, hearing this news before you go into a movie? Are you just now going to be thinking, oh, well, I wonder what we didn't get to see?
Well, I mean, it's like to what the point that Schnepp brought up. When I hear this, I kind of think that this is weird. The idea that a filmmaker knows that they, for a end of summer blockbuster or summer blockbuster that a studio is putting out, you're not going to get a 3.5-hour theatrical cut. So what are you doing? Like I don't understand how you how a filmmaker has that mindset of, well, I'm just going to make a 3.5-hour movie knowing full well that they're going to have to cut it down. It's poor, to me, it's poor storytelling. But with that being said, I love Matt Vaughn. I think he's super talented. I'm disappointed at hearing that it's kind of a drag and that people aren't digging this one, but I'll definitely give it a try. But to your question, Mark, you know, I don't find myself, going into the movie knowing that there was more will be interesting, because I'm wondering if I don't love the movie, if it will be for plot and story and wanting more, or if it'll be because it's just not a great movie.
It does bring up the question in this day and age when everybody's talking about budgets and how bloated they are now. Like, how do you make a damn near 4-hour movie knowing that it's gonna be 2 hours? Like, if you've made movies before, how do you shoot all the? I get you want to shoot as much as possible with the tools you have, but you're making a 4-hour movie. You know, there's no way that it's gonna be a 4-hour movie. So it's a little concerning, right?
It's irresponsible to me, but I don't know. What do you think, Schnepp?
You know, hey, like, I don't know what his deal was with the studio that he was making it for, but like, you know, they're talking about having him possibly direct Superman. When I read this news, I was like, you know, you don't want to have, you know, so we just shot a bunch of extra scenes with the Brainiac, but we don't need him. You're like, what? You know, it's not really part of the. We could cut that in, just drop it. It's not even part of the second movie or whatever. I don't know if that was the case. My guess is that the way he said is we got carried away, we started ad-libbing, we came up with additional scenes. So it wasn't like building new sets, so they just kind of extended everything out. Almost like Anchorman, where you have all this kind of improv extra footage where they actually cut another movie, which wasn't that good. But the original Anchorman is the one of the greatest comedies ever. So it's sort of like, oh, those scenes that got cut out were cut for a reason. So that's how I feel about it.
Well, you know who doesn't like that? Is the line producer that probably got fired.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
It's like, hey, why is he going after off a budget? It's like, oh, we just shot a 4-hour improv scene.
with comedies, it is weird though, because like if I like a comedy like Anchorman or Step Brothers, I will see a 10-hour cut of that movie.
Yeah.
Like once I get into something, I love it. So maybe there was more comedy involved. We don't know, but that was a great scoop by Frosty, getting that there was that much time that you have to cut from a movie that's coming into theaters this weekend. All right, let's move on to our next topic. What do we got, Ashley?
Variety is reporting that Matt Damon has signed on to star in a new movie entitled Charlatan, taking on the role of John R. Brinkley, the real-life 20th century doctor who conned patients into thinking that he had discovered the cure to impotence. Based on a best-selling 2008 nonfiction book entitled Charlatan, America's Most Dangerous Huckster, The Man Who Pursued Him, and The Age of Flim Flam. The movie will begin its search for a director with a release date yet to be determined. Schnepp, thoughts on Matt Damon playing John R. Brinkley in Charlatan?
I think Matt Damon's a great actor, so I'm going to buy his casting in it. You know, I mean, we have a lot of charlatans in our political sphere right now. We have a lot of liars and a lot of things going on. So I'm interested to see all about why is the goat on the cover.
There's a reason why the goats. Do you know the reason?
I do know the reason.
If you want to tell them.
No, you tell them.
Okay, so the reason why the goat's on the cover of the book is because apparently this guy, it was like early, like 1910, this is 1915, 20, something like that. He convinced patients that in order to get your virility back, to cure impotence for back then Viagra, what you do is you implant yourself with goat testicles.
Oh.
Yep.
And people signed up for it. And even back then, people
huge
just
success, and people are coming from all over the country
to get goat testicles implanted, because even back then, if you don't have that, what do you have in life? I guess that was before you could just throw a football through a tire and suddenly find your wife attractive after 30 years. So, Clarke, you hear that Matt Damon's going to be in this movie. Do you think that this is the right play for him? Do you think that it's a little weird?
What's funny is that I know the exact Viagra reference you were making with this wig and the tire.
I could have gone with the 2 bathtubs if you're more of a Cialis person.
So funny story about this actually. This was covered on a podcast recently. This story, and because I know somebody who runs a production company that heard this podcast and called to try and get these rights, and they said Matt Damon's company just called and bought the rights to the book. So then apparently there was like a documentary made, and they called to get the rights to adapt the documentary in a narrative, and they said, like, I think it was Johnny Depp's company just called and bought the rights. So this story basically of American history, which is truly fascinating because the charlatan element goes way past. This guy just would not stop when it came to schemes and like outsmarting the business, and it goes far beyond this transplant. But anyway, it's a fascinating story, and look, I do really like Matt Damon, so I'm on board. I buy it across the board.
Yeah, just don't get too graphic with the surgery, and man, it kind of sounds like a character that he would do in something like The Informant, you know. So I think I'd be up for Matt Damon doing this, Kristian.
It's a huge buy for me because Matt Damon is a rare type of actor where he could play the most lovable guy, a family guy, a killer spy, a charlatan. I mean, he could play all these characters, and it doesn't harm the public's persona of him, because some people get stereotyped. They keep playing villains, or they play someone scummy, and that's who people see them as, and that's how they get cast as, or they're just the action star. Remember, when he was signed on to play Bourne, the Good Will Hunting guy is going to play a kick-ass guy, and look how that turned out. He is an underrated actor. I know everyone up here is going, yeah, he's pretty good. I like Matt Damon, but he is one of the best out there from what he's able to do. Consistent, and he's a chameleon because he really is a guy. To have that level of celebrity and to be able for people to be able to lose themselves in your movies and forget seeing Matt Damon, they see who you're playing. He's done it every single time. Mm-hmm. He really has, and he's one of the best out there for sure, because there's other people that cannot shake the celebrity. They can't, because Tom Cruise, as great as he is, he's always Tom Cruise. Right. He's great when he's playing a lot of characters, and he has great performances. The one time is when Tropic Thunder is definitely not Tom Cruise, but when you see him, as great as an actor he is and an action star he is, it's hard to shake Tom Cruise. Matt Damon is not that type of actor with the celebrity, and this is an exciting and kind of interesting story to tell, to see him in that light.
Yeah, it's a buy all the way around. It makes me question my daily purchase of horny goat weed at 7-Eleven. All right, we got one more story, and then it's on to Mailbag. What's up, Ash?
Oh my gosh. Broad Green Pictures has released the first trailer for the upcoming comedy Just Getting Started. The film stars Morgan Freeman as an upbeat and charismatic manager of a luxury Palm Springs resort called Villa Capri, whose status is threatened by the arrival of a newcomer played by Tommy Lee Jones. Matters are made even more complicated when it's revealed that Freeman's character is actually in witness protection after testifying against the mob. The film comes from Tin Cup writer-director Ron Shelton and is set to hit theaters on December 8th later this year. Mark, buy or sell the first trailer for Just Getting Started.
I will give the honor to my playing partner, Kristian.
Oh, I haven't seen it, but what I will tell you, the reason I didn't get a chance to see it, but the reason I was laughing at it, it looks like it's the 80th movie that Morgan Freeman has done like this, with the difference of the fact that he's the informant. But I see that and I go, well, who's directing this one? Zach Braff doing this? No. Wait. Is Michael Douglas in this? No. Oh, it's Tommy Lee Jones this time. But that's what he's supposed to be doing right now. He's Morgan Freeman. He can do whatever he wants. And by that being said, I'm not crapping on this movie whatsoever, because I don't even know what the trailer looks like. But what I will tell you, the premise alone could be fun. It could be stupid. It could be one of those movies that you go and you check out, because that movie that I mentioned with Jerry Ferrara and Robert De Niro when they went
Las Vegas.
Yeah, that was fun. As stupid as that movie should have been, I had a fun time with it. So, whatevs.
The guy can talk for having not witnessed the source material. I think that this movie looks like a lot of fun. You know what I caught on the plane home from Philly was Going in Style.
That's
with
the one
Morgan Freeman and Michael Caine. Yeah, that's the Mike. Yeah, thank you for contributing to the program.
Yeah.
And watching that movie, I'm like, yeah, I could see Morgan Freeman in more roles like this. So if you have it at like an old folks home, like a Del Boca Vista for you Seinfeld fans out there, It looks funny, and Ron Shelton doing it. I'm a huge fan of Ron Shelton, not just because I had a dream last night that I was actually playing in a basketball game with Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson. That is an actual dream that I had a White Men Can't Jump dream last night. Ron Shelton did that. Tim Cupp, Bull Durham, a lot of great stuff. Clarke Wolfe, your thoughts on the Del Boca Vista movie?
Yeah, I'm going to sell this one for now, just because, to Christian's point, it does look like the 80th movie like this that Morgan Freeman has done in a while. But at the end of the day, I love Tin Cup, and so perhaps this movie will be better than my first impressions from this trailer. But for now, I'm selling it.
Jon Schnepp.
You know what? I trepidatiously watched this trailer because I was like, another one of these grumpy old men type movies. They're in a retirement home. What are they now? They're like, and actually I enjoyed it. I laughed. And it's got a lot of incredible actors and actresses in it. So I feel like it's like a little bit of a throwback. Like it feels like these kinds of movies aren't being made anymore, but maybe they should be getting made. So I'm going to buy it.
All right, everybody's excited about Morgan Freeman and Tommy Lee Jones duking it out. Maybe they will get implanted with goat testicles. We want to remind you guys that this is not the only daily show on Collider, the channel. I lost my train of thought. We got TV Talk, we have Heroes, and by the way, the thumbnails have changed a little bit, so if you guys are searching and you're looking for like what you're just waiting for your eye to catch a certain color, just do your due diligence, investigate. I like the new thumbnails. Check them out. Make sure you're clicking on the right thing. Have at it. Whole lot of good stuff. Plus the Fatal 5-Way, which was the singles qualifier for the Schmodown Ultimate Schmodown Singles Tournament, was yesterday. No spoilers were given away, but my God, what a match that was. And we also, we're breaking new ground here, Christian. Book reviews.
That's right. Yeah, we reviewed Leia by Claudia Gray, the newest Star Wars novel.
Princess of Alderaan.
Yeah, myself, Ken Knapsack, and Perry. But one sad bit of news that I just found out: Jake LaMotta, who was the inspiration, obviously, for Raging Bull, passed away at 95 today.
Oh, no.
One of the greatest middleweight champions of all time.
That's right. And Raging Bull is one hell of a movie. Incredible performance. But Jake LaMotta, the real guy, lived a life 95 years young. Wow. Hats off to you, good sir. All right. You guys have been doing a great job with Mailbag. You guys have been doing so well with Mailbag. Remember, a couple weeks ago, we were like, hey, is it cool if you guys don't always ask like comic book movie questions or Star Wars movie questions? And Ashley, they're just knocking it so far out of the park that I feel horrible doing this to you guys. We're going to just go to live Twitter questions today. But here's what we're going to do. It was a great one, and now Riley's not going to talk to me for the rest of the day because he found a really good one. We had a good one yesterday. We're going to get to more Mailbag questions, but here's the good news. Riley, stop throwing stuff at me. Here's the good news. If we don't get to it on Movie Talk, your Mailbag does not just get thrown away and unlooked at like so many lists sent to Santa Claus. It will go either on a later episode of Movie Talk that week or on the weekend show Mailbag. That is my solemn promise to you, the good people of Collider. So, you guys can always tweet us as well at Collider Video. You've been doing so already with lust and vigor. So, Wendy Lee Zaney, let's have a couple good ones.
Well, this one was stirring up the rumor mill a little bit. This one comes from Kevin. He says, with rumors start, Darth Vader is in the Han Solo movie. Do you think he's been added in reshoots as a fan service?
Ooh, what a question. The first way to get to this is, do I want to see Darth Vader in a Han Solo movie? And the answer is, nah, I'm good. But if they added him in, I wonder, it seems like if I was a betting man, and they said, okay, Ron Howard is now in the Han Solo movie. Ron Howard. If Darth Vader's now in the Han Solo movie, Clint Howard is definitely going to be in the Han Solo movie. Clint Howard playing Darth Vader. That's the movie I want to see. Do you think that was Ron Howard's decision, or do you think it was something that Lord Miller did? I would say I think that's Ron Howard coming in, having a discussion with the Lucasfilm brass, and saying, I think Darth Vader fits in here. Maybe they were going to have him in either iteration of the movie. I don't want to see Darth Vader in the Han Solo movie. I'm good on Darth Vader. Thought he was great in Rogue One. Oscar-worthy performance. Christian, how do you feel?
I don't think it would be either Ron Howard or Lord Miller's decision. I think that it was the whole point was one of the biggest concerns with Lord Miller's that they weren't following Kasdan's script, which what they were saying is that Kasdan's script is one of the best Star Wars movies out there. Ooh. So if it was in the script, then what I think the difference is, Obi-Wan movie, I feel like Vader would serve the purpose and actually would be a bigger part in the actual film. If he's in Solo, it has to be quick. I don't want it's like he kind of just shows up. He's there, whether he's there with stormtroopers looking for some other rebels or anything too. He can't interact as much with Solo at all. I don't want to see him be a part of the story. Just something quick, just to know that he's there would be fine, like a cameo.
Would it be weird if he was in like the whole movie?
It'd be so weird.
He's just like, so what do you guys want to do now? Like, you're Darth Vader.
Stay away from my daughter.
He's just chasing. No, Admiral Piet, where is Captain Solo now? Just keep cutting away to him on that bridge and be like, what's going on?
Right.
Vader's in the entire film and he's not doing anything. Yeah, I am excited to hear that Darth Vader's going to be in it, but yeah. It'll probably be a cameo, or maybe the Millennium Falcon on the Kessel Run like jumps out and like shows up in front of a Star Destroyer, and Darth Vader's like sipping some tea. He's like, "What?" You know, it's like wouldn't be like that.
Like Dark Helmet when he's drinking coffee.
That's the version. That's the version that they reshot.
Yeah, they were like, "That's the Lord Miller version." How can he be sipping through his breathing mask? Don't worry about it. We're getting rid of that footage. So
Clarke Wolfe, do you want to see Darth Vader either getting his caffeine fix in the morning, hunting some rebels, doing some Force stuff, anything in the Han Solo movie?
No, I don't.
He was so good in Rogue One.
No, his last scene in Rogue One was good. I hated him in the rest of the movie.
You're not a pun person.
I am a pun person, but not when it's supposed to be one of the scariest villains of all time.
Darth Vader always had good.
Not those puns.
He always had good puns.
Yeah, this is a different argument.
Pun, yeah.
He never had those kind of puns. He always cracked sarcastic humor, but never
when
straight
you
on
watch
the nose
a
jokes.
comedian's younger work, you notice the jokes have evolved from their first special to their fifth special.
love the premise of Darth Vader being a stand-up comedian.
Right. That's
and
who he
his
is in the
work
Solo
and his
movie.
stuff and his material.
That's somebody make a fan film with Vader in front of the mirror, like, I find your lack of faith. Just
Exactly.
Don't choke on your. Hang on a second.
Right. Apology accepted is a different thing.
Yeah.
Don't choke on your aspirations.
I'm choking.
He just woke up. He was just taking a nap in a bed today, and nobody is their funniest when they just wake up. All right, the best comment was in the chat room. Somebody said that Clint Howard should be playing Han Solo's dad, and I love that idea so much. Quick cameo, Ron, make it happen. All right, one more Twitter question, and we'll call it a day. What's up, Wendy?
All right, this one comes from Terry Frost, who writes, what is your favorite end credit sequence not seen? Kubo and the Two Strings has to be among the best ever. Your thoughts?
Favorite end credit sequence. So it's not like a post-credit scene. It's like the actual credit scrolling.
Sure. Yeah.
By far, the one that I always think of is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. God, what a great send-off to a fantastic trilogy where it is Indiana, it's Marcus, it's Sulla, and it's Indy's dad. And they all made it. And his dad might be immortal at that point. We have no idea. So he's and they're just riding off into the sunset, and they just let him keep riding. And they keep riding. Here comes all the credits. Here's the grips. Here's the catering. And they just let him keep riding off into the sunset. It's such a beautiful close to a trilogy. And they cut it off, Clark. Every time I'm watching it on TNT or TBS, they cut it off. They're just like, oh, and he survived and the night waved. And now, coming up next, Basic Instinct, and it upsets me to this day.
All right, well, I got two real fast. The first one is Jaws, because it's not really credits. I mean, it's not, meaning the credits don't roll, but it's just this like it's a stable shot of the waves breaking against the shore after all of this chaos has just happened. That's always stuck with me. And then the Liar Liar credits with all the outtakes and everything. It was a really, I think that was Jim Carrey in his comedy prime. And seeing how truly funny that set appeared to be was a treat. So that one always stuck with me.
Yeah, because it was a couple years after the magical year of him for '94, so everybody knew what a comedic force he was, and it was just a bunch of people around witnessing. He probably had people who didn't have to be there that day, just all showing up to watch Jim Carrey work his magic, and that is a great outtake scene. Schnepp, every time I watch Jaws at the end credits, I'm waiting for Brody and Hooper to like appear back. They never do, but I assume they made it back.
I was gonna say Animal House, but that's not really technically the end credits because they're just showing like what happened to them later. But
Senator and Mrs. Blutarsky.
Yeah, I love that, but I'm gonna say The Hangover. Because like while they're rolling the credits, you're like finding out all this crazy other stuff that happened, that you didn't see in the movie. So that just came to mind. So.
Christian, some pretty good ones.
I'm sure I'll be mad that I forgot one of my really favorite ones. But after hearing you talk about Last Crusade, the last Rambo movie, the fourth one, when he finally goes back to the States. He hasn't been back to the States in a while, and he walks back to his dad's place, and they follow him the whole time from the credits, from the second he gets out, walking all the way up to that long road, and walking into his house. I thought it was pretty.
Yeah, I always wonder how many takes those kind of shots take. You know,
Just do it once. Just do it once.
Like if you like stumble once, like do you get nervous when you hit the steps?
I bet.
It's like I've been walking for like a mile here.
It could be a one and done if everyone's like, did it work? They probably do a one for safety. So I'd say 2 takes, 3 takes max.
Yeah, a lot of good ones here. The Blair Witch Project end credits. Everybody thought it was real. That was a pretty good one. All right. Thank you guys for tuning into this episode of Collider Movie Talk. Thank you to our brave crew as well as the panel. Chock full of panelists up here with me, Mr. Jon Schnepp. Where can the kids find you?
While I'm not editing the end credits off the Blair Witch to screw with my friends when that came out, that was a lot of fun.
It's the greatest prank ever pulled.
On Twitter and Instagram, just at Jon Schnepp, and Watch Heroes coming up later today.
Kristian, where can they find you in your magical polka-dotted pocket?
That's right. You can find me at Kristian Harloff on Twitter and Instagram. And make sure you check out on Friday, myself, Ken Knapsack, and Emma Fife will be doing an entire preview for the singles tournament. Mr. Mark Ellis will be in it. Ms. Clarke Wolfe will be in it. There's going to be a lot of people inside of this tournament, 16 competitors. Make sure you check it out.
I would love to meet Clarke Wolfe again in a movie trivia competition. In the meantime, you're in Vegas doing an impression show. Tell us about it.
I sure am. I'll be doing all the impressions of the 80s. You can find me in Austin, Texas. I'll be there for Fantastic Fest, watching all the crazy horror, sci-fi, fantasy, exploitation, action, weird movies that can be found. So follow me on social media, and I'll be posting reactions and letting some of you nerds know what to look out for in the coming days. So in the coming months. So at Clarke Wolfe, Clarke with an E, Wolf with an E.
Tell the Shiner Bach I said hi.
I will.
I miss it. So Ashley Mova, where can the kids find you?
On Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, Ashley Mova. Happy Wednesday, guys.
Happy Hump Day indeed. And last but not least, our Twitter gatekeeper, Wendy Lee Zaney.
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat at Wendy Lee Zaney and at the Movie Couple channel on YouTube.
I am merely Mark Ellis. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. For tickets to upcoming stand-up shows, you can get them at markellislive.com, including New York City during Comic-Con, October 5th and 6th at New York Comedy Club. Use promo code SCHMOES for a special discount. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Here's a really handsome guy. Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.